Have you ever wondered how the kingdoms of King David and Solomon looked like at that time? Or you may have wondered what ancient empires have to look like to be considered prosperous and powerful. Well, you are not alone. As a Christian myself, I've always been wondering how these areas were like during Bible times. My name is Gabriel, and today we will look back at how the kingdoms of King David and Solomon looked like at that time. And we are starting right now. The archaeological research of King David's kingdom has been hampered by Western world's innate bias. For far too long, one Israeli researcher claims the answer to this issue has been hindered by an inherent, if not unconscious, bias. The urge to uncover evidence for palaces, vast cities, and other elements that in the eyes of the Western world views signifies riches and power. According to Tel Aviv University professor Erez Ben Yosef, the biblical story is about nomads. He continued, almost everybody agrees that ancient Israel emerged from a nomadic society, and the same is true for the neighboring kingdoms, such as the Moabites, the Edomites, and the Ammonites, which were established by a coalition of nomadic tribes. As Ben Yosef noted in a paper recently published in the Jerusalem Journal of Archaeology, up until now, the consensus among scholars has been that before a society became sedentary, it could not be considered complex or evolved. For this reason, many have dismissed the notion that ancient Israel could be as powerful as described in the Bible. However, in order to comprehend the Israel of King David and King Solomon, a new methodology is required. A methodology that completely disregards the need for great architectural ruins in favor of asking the right questions and bringing archaeological and historical facts into context. The researcher put it, the problem is that when we think about nomads, we immediately think about modern Bedouin, and we find ourselves stuck in a certain mental box. It is time to leave this box. He, however, believes the mistake is understandable. Normally, archaeology does not offer us the possibility to study nomadic societies and their material culture, so we base our conclusion off assumptions. That is because Bedouin tents in fact do not leave remnants around for millennia. At the same time, archaeologists have wanted to be important players in the discussion about the historicity of the Bible, and they have claimed that they could see more than they could, Ben Yosef argued. Now, we have very strong evidence that this approach was wrong, and that what we thought about nomads in the ancient land of Israel was wrong. For the past 8 years, archaeologists have been excavating at Timnah, and Ben Yosef is currently the director of excavation. The site, which is located in the Araba Valley in southern Israel, has long been associated with King Solomon and his kingdom, dating back some 3,000 years, until archaeological remains discovered at the end of the 1960s suggested that its ancient copper mines were operated by the Egyptian Empire 2 centuries earlier. However, in recent years, radiocarbon dating of organic material found at Timnah proved that the most intense activity of the site happened around 1000 BC, the time of David and Solomon. According to Ben Yosef, the site was part of the nomadic Edomite kingdom, but might have been under nomadic Israel's control, as the Bible suggests. Crucially, Timnah presents ample evidence that did not need to be sedentary or to leave grand palaces behind to be rich and influential. The researcher said there used to be a consensus that only an empire could be responsible for such a massive operation requiring thousands of workers. Although there were no empire in the region at the time the mines were active, only these tribes and coalition of tribes that acted as kingdoms without building cities. Only the fact that this specific nomadic polity engaged in copper production allowed the evidence of its complexity to survive. The mining activity left tons of copper slugs in the site, and since its occupation lasted a long time, other finds were also unearthed, including pottery and organic remnants that were preserved thanks to the dry climate. The remnants include refined foods, such as almonds and fish, and even fabrics dyed with the purple argaman, the most expensive pigment of the time, and a status symbol of the elite in ancient societies in southern Levant. So what did the contemporary kingdoms of David and Solomon look like? According to Ben Yosef, a significant part of the population was still tent-dwelling. As it was common at the time, it was a mixed society with some people living in tents and others in buildings. As the biblical author says, more people settled over time, but many people continued to live in tents until the first temple was destroyed. Also, at that time, reigning over or managing another tribe did not require the construction of fortification to control them. Instead, it might be based on taxation or agreement, as recounted in the Bible, for example, in the relationship between Israel and Edom. Ben Yosef believed the biblical text is complex and may contain some biases and exaggerations, but he still thinks it contains far more truth than many believe. According to him, researchers cannot utilize archaeology in the same way that it has been used to research the historicity of the Bible till now. They must recognize reality. He said, "We can't just keep looking for walls. Our rules must alter." If you have watched this video up to this point, I want you to know that archaeologists claim they have discovered Noah's Ark using 3D scan and ERT technology. Click the video displayed on your screen right now to find out more. Remember to like this video, it will help me a lot. Don't forget to subscribe and enable notification so you don't miss our future updates. Thank you very much for watching. Peace.